Hello, everyone, and to make sure that we're
Uh,
not that we don't have the same sound problem as last time, if everyone could say hello. We already heard Trevor, audience,
Hello.
and
Hey guys.
Yeah,
all
that's
right.
fine.
So, well, as you might have noticed, we're missing a player. We don't know where she is. She was supposed to be there, but well, I guess I'm going to play her again until we know what happens. Um, well, in the meantime, welcome everyone. Welcome to Draken Memoria. If this is the first time you're joining, then greetings. It's a pleasure to have you with us. If for those returning, welcome back. It's a pleasure to have you with us again. And for those wondering what this channel is about, it's about watching a group of people playing Dungeons and Dragons. Now, last episode we had a bit of a glitch with the audio. Little modification had been made with the overlay, and unfortunately, I was the only voice you could hear. And not many people will say that it is fun to hear me talk for 3 hours uninterrupted. So I spared you the awful agony and made you a little resume so you can know what happened. And as for this session, well, both half of our party have finally managed to find themselves in the same city. And some reluctantly and some with a bit of apprehension, but still, both have decided to look for one another, and hopefully this time they will find one another. And this is where we left off. One good thing about last stream not being published is that I get to have a second chance to introduce the port city of Sutien, as last time I was having trouble finding my notes. And since both party entered the group...
Wake up.
And since both party found... both party found their way inside the city through a different gate, I get to describe the whole city in a single shot. Trevor, have you heard anything about our missing player?
Yeah, I did a direct call with her in Discord, and she finally answered, and I just said, wake up, and hung up, so she might be here in a little bit.
Okay. So, the port city of Sutien. It is one of the largest cities on the island of Estrin, second only to the northern port city, where the royal family lives. It is a multi-leveled city built on a slope, slowly leading up to the mountain to the north. The slope has been carved in a series of plateaux to create all of the different districts of the city. So on the lowest district, the one facing the island, where Trevor and Valtteri arrived in, the very exterior of the city, behind the walls, there is a small district, mostly for the beginning of a small farming community, which is mostly to help the city sustain itself with food and not only relying on the other small farming communities and the merchant ship coming in from the port. You mostly find simple peasants there. The section of the city is not protected by the wall, it is in front of it. For many people who do not have the money to stay in, or that are just too tired or coming in too late at night, it is their only option to. Oh, hello.
Morning.
Yes,
Hey,
you really should set an alarm clock.
I actually did.
That's nice. Yeah, that happens to me also.
And I heard it, and I stopped it, and then accidentally went back to bed.
All right. So I was describing the city of Soutien. The first district that you arrive in is a district outside of the walls. It is mostly for farming community and also those who don't have the money to live inside the walls of the city. Many adventurers who have very few means will find an inn in this district. The shop that you can find are mostly for everyday life. You won't find anything specialized to make bigger object like swords, weapons, or a full cart, but you will find shops to repair carts, repair small metal object, buy food. The second district, the one behind the city walls, is mostly an urban district where you will find most of the population. Usually you will find middle class and the upper lower class inside. Again, most of the shop there are for everyday living. However, they are of a little bit higher quality as this part of the city is inside the walls and protected. There are patrols. However, most of the bigger shops are not held in there. In this part of the city, very often festivities will occur there, since it is probably the most heavily populated area where peasants will have the most ease getting to. So there are also a few green areas where there are a few trees, probably their equivalent of a park. A few town squares where festivities can happen. But mostly it is for those who live and not for shop owners. However, like I said, there are a few. The third district, still, as I said, these districts are all on little plateau. So each one has its own wall and its own stairs leading up to the wall, making it always harder to invade from the outside, as you always have to account for this little step, which makes it hard for siege engine to attack the tier of the cities, which are ever deeper. The third tier is where Audience and Tobiashi arrive. It is the commercial district. Most of the heavier shops are located there, and many shop owner will try to find a place there, as it is the first place where tourists will arrive in. And many of them, if they come from other island chains, are very wealthy and will pay for higher quality merchandise. It is also an opportunity for some shop to be able to purchase merchandise coming from other islands that haven't already been promised to another shop. Also, traveling merchant will also often try to find their way there, as they can sell their ware to people coming from other island and other island chain. It is, however, a very industrial district, and you will find very few lodging there that is of good quality. It is usually for those who found themselves without money, without lodging, trying to find a place to stay for the night. So it is not where you will find the highest quality if you're looking for an inn. However, there are. It is, after all, a commercial district and a place where it is very easy to find an inn where a lot of tired workers will ease their hard day work in front of a variety of ale coming from all around the island and possibly from other island chains. The next district is higher north. It is still connected to the industrial district, however, it is closer to the mountains. And it is where the higher hand of the community lives. Most nobles will live there. It is also where you can find merchandise of higher qualities. Finer silk, rarer metals, those that the normal population and even some adventurers can afford. You will also, unfortunately, find shops that will put the aesthetic of something above its quality. So you always have to be careful. Most peasants won't try to go there. They will easily be found. Guards are always alert for this, as nobles tend to not want to mix with the lower part of the society. However, adventurers are sometimes welcome, as they sometimes brings interesting and diversity in the tales that they can hear, especially bards. You will easily find bards traveling in those districts, as they will find customers willing to pay a lot. The last district is the one that neither of you have seen personally, but can all see from where you are, as it is the one on the highest elevation. It is the castle where the Lord and the Lady live. It is very high up, very difficult to attack from the side, unless you want to face the gauntlet of the city in front of it. This is the city where you all find yourself in. Valtteri and Trevor has just entered the gates, where they found a variety of people entering, including a tiefling, which Trevor used to ease Valtteri's mind that tiefling will be welcome in this city. And Tobiashi, an audience who have found their way in the industrial district and are deciding where they should start preaching this new draconic religion. So, let's start with, well, Valtteri and Trevor. You are in the part of the city where the middle and upper lower class finds itself. People there are usually very welcoming. They're used to seeing a variety of people. However, Valtteri, this is your first time in a city that large. You have found yourself in a city before, port cities, but this is huge, covered in stone, with a lot of buildings, a greater variety of races that you've seen all of your life. And you also get to see construct walking about. Most of them seem to be very focused on their task, and you assume that they are, as construct are supposed to be, simply arcane machines. However, you do see from time to time one that is walking differently, and you assume that it is what you have heard of, these construct gaining sentience, awareness. It is a phenomenon that has only been occurring for the past 100 years and only been officially recognized by many churches within the last 20 or 30 years, because some of them have actually been able to use divine magic, meaning at least one god somewhere believes they actually are alive. But it is the first time that you meet one, that you see one. There are not a lot of them, but you can actually see one from where you are. Trevor, you've known this for a while, but you probably also never seen one that is sentient. However, construct you are used to, and you've seen your share, although not as diverse as those, because construct making has been elevated almost to a level of an art, and you see designs that you have never imagined before. Some with a third arm, helping them to move things about. Some don't have legs, they just seem to have some sort of wheel contraption. And they just move about with a gnome in front of it, asking everyone to clear the way if you don't want to get your toes squashed. But it is the first time, to your knowledge, that you actually can see one that might actually be sentient. It is not coming your way. It is doing its own business. It is walking about in the street, looking in the shop. It is fairly early in the morning.
All right. Well, I know it catches my eye. I'll look to Val and see how she's reacting to it.
That's probably her best reaction.
Yeah. It's the first time for me too. I'm actually quite fascinated in the concept that they could become self-aware. So I definitely want to look more into that at some point, but we have to find the other two. So yeah, I'm sure we'll see another at some point, especially maybe in here. As populated as this place is, but let's see. But I'm going to send Tao to scout ahead, but I originally thought about just having him fly ahead and then follow up to his location, but that is going to be way too slow. So what I want you to do, he'll take his hood up, cover his head. Hold on, I'm getting a message. Okay, never mind. Okay, take the hood over, cover his head, and say, while Tao is flying and me seeing through his eyes, I'm going to be blind and deaf. So I need you to take my arm and just guide me through the city and just follow Tao. And if anybody stops you, you're taking your blind and deaf friend here to look for a dragonborn paladin that we heard has entered the city, and we might be looking for some aid from him for me. So
Got it.
technically won't be a lie. But,
well, I'm not really the best at lying, but I can try.
Not really a lie. I mean, you are guiding a deaf and blind friend, and we are looking for this dragonborn paladin here.
It is stretching the truth, but yeah, no, it is not. At
the moment, I will be blind and deaf. So, but if you happen to see them, just tug on my jacket or something, and he'll just hold his arm out where she could hook her arm and send Tao out flying. Keep him 100 feet, then he'll just kind of circle around, and I'll also tell her as we're walking, as we catch up to Tao, tug on me again, and I will send him out further. And Tao will just like he's flying around like a normal bird, not doing a direct path, but kind of just zigzagging around and looking for them, and also hearing for anyone talking about dragons.
Very well. So I'd say roll a perception roll for Tao.
Alright, and since it's relying on sight or hearing, it's an advantage. And it's still not great, though. It's going to be 15.
All right. I'm going to keep it in mind. Audience and Tobiyashi, you are looking for the perfect place to start preaching the incredible might and awesomeness of the dragon. This is where we left off. So,
Yes, the dragons.
what are you looking for exactly? Where will you stop? Are you going to go for maximum people? Are you going to go for people of influence? Are you going to go for people easily converted? People of influence would be trying to make your way to the noble district. Quantity of people will be staying where you are in the industrial district, but trying to find people that are more easily convinced of this new religion.
I think we were just going to head to a large town square with a large
I'm
people.
following audience because I have no idea what to do in this big city.
All right, so audience, you would have a choice to go. Well, if you want to go to the first one that you see, it would still be in the industrial district, except this is an industrial district. Not a lot of people will stop and listen. A lot of people are actually very busy and trying to find whatever they are looking for. But there are a lot of people, and probably also people coming from other island chains. So it could also be an opportunity to try and spread this indirectly.
Yeah, that was my idea. And just have people hear it. So, because we're just I don't expect to necessarily get a gathering here, but more just have people hear it. So
All
we're
right.
just heading to that.
Tobiyashi, what do you do while he is doing this?
Well,
You see him wander about looking at different places. You see him stop and look at this one, still looking at the people moving about and keep on going. He's looking for something.
well, I guess I'll just keep an eye out for anything that I see, anything strange, I guess, since he's looking around.
Define
Just keeping an eye out.
Define strange. You have never been in
Everything.
this large of a
Yeah.
city before. You've been in port cities. You've actually been on this island before, the island of Estrin, but not in this city. This is the largest city you've ever seen, with the highest concentration of different people, races. You also have never seen a sentient construct before, but you have seen on a few occasions a construct. However, you've never seen this variety of them. So define strange for you.
Well, I would say, since we're in a city, just stuff flying through the air, different things like that.
All right. I'll make a perception roll.
Oh, wow. Okay. First roll, and that is kind of bad. Thank you, new dice. Let's see this. 8.
8. Nice. Wow, it seems like you've probably actually seen something on the ground that had really attracted your attention. You've actually never seen that before, and you look at audience and say, have you ever seen this woman? She's sort of walking very lightly dressed in the middle of the city in the morning. Of course, audience, you have seen many cities, you know what it is. But Tobiyashi seems to be very fascinated by this human.
Somewhere where you can spend a lot of gold.
Yeah, I'll just.
Never heard of this before.
I guess I'll stop my my chanting for a second, and I'll be like, "Do you know what I don't know, what would I call them? probably like.
Well, seeing as you come from a society extremely centered on honor and on benefiting the clan, this is not something that usually benefits a clan and not usually regarded as honorable. So, how do you want to call this?
I mean, I'll say for now, I'll be like, so you've never heard of a streetwalker before?
No, I've never heard of this so-called streetwalker.
Well, so I don't know. There aren't really many of them where I come from either, but in my travels, I came across they are individuals who will, give you a good time for coin, if you know what I'm saying. I throw a wink in there. See if he picks up on it.
Depends.
What are
Do you
saying?
wink on the coin or the good time?
The good time. Wink on the good time.
I say, what are you saying?
Okay. I kind of give Tobiyashi a long look like, am I gonna have to explain the birds and the bees to you right now?
Poor guy's been in a monastery all of his life, so you know.
You're right. Alright.
He lived in a monastery. Be careful. If you start talking about the birds and the bees, he might actually think you are talking about the birds and the bees.
Yeah. I'll kind of I'll put my arm around him. I'll be like, have you ever, been with a woman?
Oh, here we go,
bro.
and the downhill starts.
No, not really. Just getting
No.
kind of flustered.
Well, if you want, you could go over to that woman over there and pay her an amount of coin, and she'd agree to be with you. That's what a streetwalker is.
I look at him kind of confused, I think I'll use my coin on something else, and I'm going to keep walking straight and avoid any of those walkers.
All right. Well, you eventually.
Tobiyashi, a virgin confirmed.
Well, he lived in a monastery, It's not
audience
that
has got too much
surprising.
honor. Trevor can hook him up later or something.
Yeah,
Well, to be fair, audience might have been with someone, but probably not a lot, since you've been so focused. But your god never said that you couldn't, so.
I guess I'll just start screaming about dragons.
Oh yes, this is gonna be nice. All right.
I'll file that in the back of my head. Way to get Tobiyashi to start helping me with my religion. Just start talking about sex.
All right. Well, I'm going to say, okay. Well, what sort of role do you do to get people to follow your religion?
Probably
Performance persuasion.
Well, performance
Religion.
I don't know
Well,
if we're performing or persuading right now. One of the two, probably.
all right.
Toby's probably going through the motions, so just since he agreed. So probably performance for Toby, it'd be persuasion for audience since he's actually trying to persuade.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. So, audience.
Just trying to yell about dragons.
So you can each roll, or one of you can give the other advantage.
Oh, what do you want to do? I already rolled once, so it's up to you. I can't give you advantage. Choose whether you want to roll
Alright.
and give me advantage.
I'll roll.
Okay. Then I got a 12.
Okay.
I got a 12.
All right.
Both above average. It's not awful.
Slightly above average, yeah.
Slightly above average.
Well, audience, you're not that used to preaching in a large city, so you often get your voice often gets lost with the sounds of the industrial district. As for Tobiyashi, well, the idea of the walkers still lingers in your mind, so you are not completely focused on the task.
It's like, really? No.
But, maybe she's not... No, sorry. All right. Well, then you both find a place and you start preaching. Valtteri and Trevor. So, do you just go in a straight line, or do you also go in smaller street, trying to cover as much ground, or just going in a straight line toward the next gate?
You're leading, but I would say as far as Tao goes, I would try and keep him on like the main pass. If I know audience, he's going to try and find the most people to preach this stuff to. So you're not going to find them on the back alleys.
All right.
I would have said that I would follow Tao as he asked me to do. So
Okay.
I wouldn't go straight to the next gate. I would try to follow Tao as good as I can through the
All right.
group of people.
All right.
Yeah.
So you will probably go from one square to the next. There are probably 2 or 3 inside the city, as it is quite large. So this is going to take you a few hours going through all of this. And Valtteri, it's going like a Trevor asked, to drag him around as if he was blind. This is going to take a little bit of time. Audience and Tobiyashi, how long do you want to do this at the same place?
We'll start with probably like an hour.
All right. Well, in that case, so after an hour, you start seeing a lot more people coming in because most people have woken up. They are actively trying to look for wares. You also find most of the tourists and people coming from other island chains starting to mix with all of this. It is still a very busy place, but it seems to be getting a lot busier, a lot more people talking, and you are not attracting that much attention.
I'm
An hour
going
is
to
that.
try and move more to the center of the square where I think I'll attract more attention and then continue.
Center of the square or the district?
We're in the center of a kind of like area right now. Right?
Yes, this is the industrial district. Just like every other district, there are several central places.
But like,
where,
are we like in a courtyard right now? Like kind of. Like,
no, actually, a lot of these places will have either a place where you can find a well, which naturally draws a lot of people around, or sort of like a little town square or court where there's mostly the connection between different roads. So this is some place where a traveling merchant will naturally try to gather.
all right, I'll turn to Tobiyashi and I'll say like, let's head to the center of the town square and continue there. I think we'll attract more people and it will be easier for Val or Trevor to see us there.
Okay, you lead the way.
All right. Do you wander about so you can find it on your own, or do you try to ask for direction?
I'll just follow the like flow of people because I
All right.
assume that they're all kind of lead me there.
Yeah,
it should be
eventually
that
you're going to
hard.
find yourself there, of course. So you are looking for a probably a place where there are a lot more merchants. So a place where several street gathers. It takes you about an hour to find this really perfect place where a lot of road actually connects to it. Probably a long time ago, you would assume that this might actually have been the center of one of the original town of this, because like everything, every castle, very often the castle is actually one. The city in front of the castle is usually one or two city that have merged together, sometimes even three. So you probably think that this was one of the original town square. So yeah, there's a lot of people, a lot of merchant from all around. You actually see also a group of Dragonborn trying to sell their ware. You see a little group of Shirun, a group of An-Shirun, those who move about in caravans. They don't have their large beast of burden, but they are set up in the square, talking to a lot of people, being very friendly. They are selling a variety of ware. You also see dwarves. They are prominently selling. Well, I would say you're not sure what the shop is supposed to be about, but there's alcohol and there are armors.
Okay.
Those are the most prominent shop. There are also just a few little ones, mostly
name?
manned by human and one manned by halflings. They are
Okay.
trying to sell a variety of fruits and vegetable that comes from another island chain, because most of them you do not recognize.
I'll take a look.
At which one? All around?
Well, I'll go up to the ones that are selling fruit, and
Yeah.
I'll look at the different kinds of fruit that I have never seen before.
All right. Well, you are greeted by a female halfling who just looks at you. Oh, well, hello, hi.
Hello.
How are you today?
I'm doing fine. I'm just kind of searching for my friends at the moment. I see that you have some provisions that I can look at that I've never seen before. May you show me your wares?
Yes, of course. We come from a little island chain, one little bit to the south. You probably haven't heard of it. It's called the Kestran Highland Chain.
Okay.
Well, most of these are fruits and vegetables that you can find mostly on our island chain. Even more on our island, because we're the best at cultivating those magnificent fruit and vegetable. And this fruit, and he takes fruit that looks a bit like a pear, but it has a more orange, slightly golden color. And he shows it to you. This is a very good example of what you can find. A very nice fruit, very juicy. It's called a. Sorry, it's Sometimes I name things in French and I have to translate it in English or not trip over my own tongue when I say it. Sorry. It is a. Sorry for those watching. I'm so sorry. Puentos. Pou. What is it called in English when there's two dots above a letter?
That's
It's a punctuation.
That's
I have
for
no
in
idea.
German.
It's
an
and you
U.
also find it in French.
Okay.
Well, it's the name of the punctuation. It actually it just tells you where the accent is supposed to be. So
Okay.
Pou T, but the accent is on the U. This is why it's Poun.
Okay.
So he shows you this little fruit and said it's very good. It's very cheap also. If you want, we can let you try one. It's only 2 copper.
Yeah, definitely. I'll take out 2 copper and I hand it to him, and I'll take it from him, and I'll take a bite.
All right.
Just try it.
It is very sweet. Has a bit of a flowery taste, you'd say. Light. Probably something. You've probably tasted alcohol that had this sort of taste. Alcohol made out of varieties of flower petals. Makes you think a bit like that. This kind of sweet and gentleness in the taste.
Okay.
I just love the song.
Oh, I say, well, that tastes really good.
See. If you want to buy half a dozen, it's going to be 1 silver.
Yeah, I'll do that. I'll hand him half a silver.
Now, half a dozen is 1 silver.
Yeah, I was gonna hand him 1 silver.
All right.
So that was it.
All right. Well, she starts putting all of this into a small bag and wraps it up. Would you like anything else? There's some very interesting vegetable. This one, and she shows you a vegetable that is of green color, but very deep green, very long. However, there are thorns on it, very sharp and brown thorns growing from it. Be careful, the thorns are very sharp. But don't worry, nothing is poisonous in what we sell. It is very interesting, especially if you want to make soup. We call this a courriers.
Thank you, but I have to go now. I have to find my friend.
All right.
Have a good day. I bow and I turn around and start talking about dragons again.
All right.
My friends, but let me talk about these dragons first. You know.
Yeah.
Do you talk about dragons
Like,
with
Dragons,
her?
have you guys seen my friends? Dragons. No, I'm just like- No, I don't talk about dragons personally with her. I just turn around and she hears me talking about dragons as I walk away.
Interesting mix. Audience, what do? You see Tobiyashi just going for fruit and starts stuffing his face, and then
I mean,
buying some fruit.
while he does that, I'll just start preaching
All
my
right.
stuff.
Well, then go ahead and do a persuasion roll.
All right.
Assisted by Tobiyashi, or does Tobiyashi does his own persuasion roll?
Assisted.
Assisted. So, audience, you have
Assisted,
advantage.
okay. All right, that is a 10.
Wow.
I mean, it's fine. It ends up average. But it's just-
Yeah. I can start seeing why you didn't have that much success in the other port city you were in. You are easily distracted. Probably the mix of food and also seeing other dragonborns, which you've seen others, but not as a group. And there's a little bit of you that seems to be attracted to going toward those of your kind, missing the kind of discussions that you actually have among Dragonborns. But you keep focus and you keep preaching. Valtteri and Trevor, you have been spending 2 hours so far looking about in this part of the city, and you've almost made all of the places where it is the most obvious where someone that would try to reach a lot of people would be. The last one is actually on the way to the gates of this district. Do you just keep going, or?
Yeah, I mean, if we haven't seen him yet, and if he ain't there, then he's not in this district, and we'll have to go to another one. So, yeah, I guess I would just keep him going until I have the whole main corridor covered. He's just flying a wide S pattern, just back and forth, across the corridor and heading on.
Well then, make a perception roll for Tal.
Okay, this one's a lot better. 19 plus 3, so 22.
22, well that's interesting. Alright, we're gonna go with Audience and Tobiyashi.
Wow.
Yeah, well, you are looking
Oh,
for one
quick.
another, and you're not trying to do a lot other than that. So this is really just
We're
going.
just wandering the town looking,
Yeah. I can spend more time describing the city and what you
Yeah,
find.
that's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
All right. So, Audience and Tobiyashi, you're not attracting a lot of followers. You actually managed to enthrall a probably teenage human. You would think, well, Tobiyashi being a human, you can probably easily tell that, yeah, he's probably a bit young to be a follower. His parents will probably have a problem with this. Audience, well, humans are all so small all the time. It's a bit hard sometimes to tell the difference between someone that is 15 and someone that is 18, But you actually have someone following you around. And as you notice this, you also notice one city guard starting to follow you. From a distance, but he is definitely following you. And probably, Tobiyashi, you're the first one to notice this. Because of your high passive perception.
I would go by Audience and tell him real quick that, hey, there's this kid following us. I don't know who he is, but I think he's a follower. Oh, also, a little bit more behind, there's a guard, and yeah, we should keep an eye out just in case he's kind of following us.
Okay. I will keep an eye out. Thank you for telling me. And I'll as kind of due to my nature, I'll in fact try to double my volume of my preaching.
I kind of veer off to the right a little bit, but keeping my eye on Audience, just kind of
Yeah, you're on your own.
going to the crowd.
So, do you want to keep helping him preach the dragons, or do you want to switch your role to lookout?
I'll switch to lookout, kind of off
All
to the right a little bit, so he'll be right over here, and I'll kind of walk over this way.
All right.
Just where I could still hear him.
Audience, I would say make a persuasion roll.
Alright. Oh baby, there we go. That's a natural 20. That's a 22.
Oh wow!
I just needed to increase my volume.
Yeah, that's all you needed to do.
That was it.
Suddenly,
People will recognize me, damn it.
He just
Will be
yells in the
heard.
kid's face.
It will be
So
heard.
Tobiyashi,
It's like
you turn
dragon.
around and say, "Okay, well, this is getting a slightly weird," and you're moving off. And then you start hearing Audience preach loud to everyone. It feels like you're in a a small church with someone preaching with. You can almost hear the music behind it, although there isn't any.
I kind of like turn back around, look for a second, and then I'll like keep walking, looking out for Valtteri and Trevor.
So definitely, audience, you start attracting attention. You see a lot of people looking your way. You even see different customers just diverting their gaze and suddenly slowly drifting toward you and listening to what you have to preach, listening to the word of the dragon. You even see some that seems to be genuinely interested. Among them, you see, of course, humans. You also see someone that you would feel is probably half-elf, and a few halflings. You don't seem to be attracting much attention with the other dragonborns and dwarves, but so far, you are attracting people. Valtteri and Trevor, with the roll that you just made, Tao picks up on the conversation of two persons in the streets, just coming out of the commercial district. Apparently, they were looking to buy some horseshoes to reshoe their horse. And Tao picks up on them speaking of a very loud dragonborn preaching another one of those strange religions coming from up north.
I'll have Tal kind of swoop down and just land on like one of the overhangs of one of the buildings and just kind of sit over him to kind of listen to the conversation to see if I can get an idea of where he might be.
So you are looking at a human and a halfling. And the human says, "Oh, did you hear that dragonborn? He just kept on going. There was something really almost poetic." You hear the halfling say, "Oh yeah, I know what you mean, but I'm sure there's a trick to it. He almost seemed to glow. I'm sure there's magic involved in this." And human says, "Well, sometimes you just get inspired, But yeah, that. Well, and dragonborns, they all have scales, and this one had a bit of I believe it's a brassy color." Yeah. This is sort of a brassy sheen to it, so maybe he just polished his scale better before leaving his home, I see the halfling say, "Well, yeah, but for his face, but he is wearing armor for everything else. I mean, his head wasn't glowing, but his chainmail mostly made a lot of noise." And you hear the humans say, "That probably is what was making this almost music. It must have been enchanted. I'm sure it was enchanted." The other one walking with him, he had sort of very loose clothes. Might have been a bard. He might have actually have been enchanting him.
Tal is sitting there still listening, but since I'm looking through his eyes, Tal will just give an eye roll while he's listening to all this.
I have a question. Am I still able to see Tao?
No, it's too far away for you to see this.
Yeah, I don't know how far out ahead he was of us during this, so...
Well, he's within 100 feet, I believe, for you to see.
Yeah,
but
that's his max,
he is on a street. Just the two of them were actually walking on the main street, going to where you were, but they had just turned the corner, so you don't see them. But you see Tao. You saw Tao swooping down and probably landing somewhere.
Okay, I'll just try to keep my mind like where how it just was and try to kind of
Yeah,
navigate.
and as we keep walking, I'm like, I got something. Some people are talking about them, so just keep heading that way, and yeah, and I'll send them back up once they're done talking.
I lightly press my hand and I lightly press his hand, like understood, and keep going.
Well, they keep talking, and they also keep moving about. So, are you going to just follow them, or at one point you want to disengage
Well,
with Tao?
I want to see which way they go. If they're coming back the way we came, I won't follow them. I'll just keep heading out.
No,
If they're heading towards us, then I'll go the other way.
They turned in a small street. Apparently, they're going somewhere else. But
Okay,
they were going straight toward you, but they just turned into a street.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, I know he won't be in the back alley, so yeah, I'll just keep on heading out the way we were going towards the gate there.
All right. Audience and Tobiyashi. The preaching is going very well. You are drawing slowly a crowd. You are also starting to draw a lot more attention from the guards of the cities. They're not, and Tobiyashi, you can easily see this with your passive perception. There are actually starting to be more guards, and just at first glance, you can always make another perception roll to see if you can see more, but at first glance, you can easily count 5 or 6 guards.
Oh gosh, okay.
They're not making any threatening actions, but they are there and they are looking specifically at audience.
Wait, say that again. You disconnected.
All right. So the guards aren't making any threatening action. They're just looking, but they are all intently looking at audience and the people gathering around him.
I'll start to further my distance a little more, and try to. I'm gonna look for Trevor and Valtteri like harder, because I'm kind of getting panicked.
Audience, I'm going to have you make a perception roll.
Perception? Okay. 13.
13, all right. Well, you keep on going to trying to convince a lot of people, and you actually see in the eyes of many of those listening to you, some of them are actually convinced of what you're saying, and they seem to be looking at you in a way that says, "Oh well, that makes sense. What he's saying, it's really possible. They are impressive beasts." However, with your perception roll, you notice there is someone wearing a robe, a priestly robe, that is slowly starting to walk about in the crowd. He is listening at you, but he is maintaining a distance. But it is definitely a priestly robe from another religion.
This is my corner, bitch. Beat it.
I mean, I guess for now, if he's just walking around the crowd, not really doing anything, I'll keep kind of an eye on him, but I'll just continue to preach.
All right.
I'd turn gangs in New York right here.
Tobiyashi, you notice with your passive perception, which is actually higher than audience perception, that there are a few guards that are slowly starting to position themselves. And they are positioning themselves in a way that would imply they're getting ready to act. However, you notice their glance going from audience to that other priest. And they just keep watch on both of them.
What is around me right now?
A lot of people. Audience is drawing a crowd. You are already in a place where there's a lot of commerce, and it is getting maybe 10 and a half in the morning. So you're really in the thick of it. And audience is also drawing people that aren't going away. So there are more and more and more people all around you. And you start seeing humans. You even see a few half orcs joining in. You even see an Afghan very far in the distance that is slowly making its way. However, knowing Naftans the way you do, he's probably not coming to listen to the word of audience. But he's even drawn attention from one of those. There are gnomes, dwarves.
Oh gosh. I'm gonna just keep looking for Velter and Trevor. Should I make a perception check? Oh gosh, I really need to find them.
Yes, go for a perception roll.
I'm gonna just look through everybody.
Start climbing up the tent poles to get a higher view.
12.
12. There are a lot of people around. It is very hard for you to be able to focus on a single person. They just keep moving about, and you keep hearing, the dragons, there are our friends. They are there to help us. They're benevolent. Do not listen to the teaching of those who would say otherwise. It is very distracting.
Oh gosh. Yeah,
You'll start a riot.
I'll keep walking, making more distance, just making sure I get your audience.
All right.
Keeping track of them.
Okay. Valtteri and Trevor, as you are moving about toward the gate of the city, you are starting to hear the two guards that are at this gate. The gate is not heavily guarded. You are inside the city. But you hear two of the guards talking and saying, oh, this is not gonna end well. There's someone preaching in the town square, and he's attracting the attention of those new cult leaders. They sent word to bring as many guards as they can. We just hope it's not gonna end badly. There's a lot of civilian.
Alright. Well, Tal will keep heading that way, and he'll just kind of say quietly to Valtteri, Town Square, pick up the pace, don't run me into anything. It's escalating into something not good for them.
I squeeze his hand again, that I understood, and lightly walk faster, not really running, but getting into a faster walk.
All right. Tobiyashi and audience. Audience, you are in heaven right now. A lot of people are paying attention to you. It feels like the dragons themselves have blessed you temporarily to help you convince a lot of people around you. Tobiyashi, you see all of those people paying attention to audience. You can also see more guards coming in. There are now, to you, the best of your ability, about 12 guards standing at the periphery of this little town square. And make a perception roll.
Come on.
If we can get to him, I gotta
20.
20.
Yay.
All right. You see two of these priests with different robes, and you actually see something on them that has you unsettled. The emblem on the back of these priests is the same wolf head that you saw in the camp where all the kobolds were. And you actually see one putting his hands in front of his mouth. And audience, you hear, you have a familiar scent. You don't know where it's coming from, but you've heard this before because Grimm used that spell on you. It is a simple message spell, but you don't know where it's coming from, and you just hear that you have a familiar scent. Very interesting. Tobiyashi, you don't hear that. However, you did see the priest put his hand in front of his mouth.
Let's see what he said. Can't just be coughing.
I'm about to start a religion war here.
With a 20,
Yeah.
with a 20, you can probably notice that he is concentrating. It is most likely involving a spell. However, he's not making any hand sign. He's not taking any component, so it is probably not a major spell.
Okay, where's his direction for me?
He is inside the crowd, a little bit to your left. And they both are making their way to audience, moving in circle around him, slowly tightening the circle. Right now you can only see two.
I'm gonna. How fast do you think they're coming towards me?
Toward him, very slowly.
Well, no, I mean towards me.
They're not moving toward you. They're moving toward audience.
Well, I mean since
All right,
audience
okay.
is in a group.
Because they're moving about in circle when they're
Yeah.
probably within the next 5 or 6 minutes, one of them will be, I'd say, within 10 feet of you.
Okay. I'm gonna stop right where I'm at and move over to the left a little bit and just wait until I bump right into the guy.
All right. Audience, how do you react to this? You hear this disembodied voice telling you that you have a very familiar scent.
I'll probably glance around to see if I notice anything while I continue to preach.
Make a perception roll.
It's like, yeah, the dragons. What the hell?
That is a 9.
You can't see who is doing this. You can still see one of the priests moving around, and you do notice that there is an increased presence of guard, but there are a lot of people. There are even children now in the crowd.
Okay. I'll continue to preach, but I'll kind of like try and send a thought out, like, what do you want? Like, because I know this is ascending. Like, so I'll kind of try and telepathically send a thought, like, what do you want? But I don't even know. Because I don't even really know. I'm just gonna continue. Like, I want to continue preaching because I have a good crowd, but like, so I'm not gonna pause to deal with this.
All right. Well, you try and slip in.
I'm kind of like, that's creepy, but
Yeah.
okay.
Kind of like a stand-up comedian having a heckler in the audience. You just ignore him and keep doing your thing there. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So, within the next few audience, you don't hear anyone answering to that call of who it is. Tobiyashi, within the next 5 minutes, you actually see one very close to you.
Okay. I'm gonna kind of walk the opposite way as him, and as he's walking towards me, what is he doing?
The one that will be the closest to you is. It looks like he is shadowing his friend who is actually using the spell. So, most likely, and you've seen people walk about like this because a lot of the duties that Monk had was to protect, he is acting as a lookout, a bodyguard for his friend.
Okay. Since I kind of assume this guy's using a spell, and he's kind of getting closer to audience, I'm gonna slightly pull out one of those fruits that I was eating earlier, and I'm gonna take a bite out of it, and I'm gonna try to. I guess it'd be a stealth check.
What do you
I'm
wanna
gonna
do?
try to blend into the crowd, and as I get right up to him, I'm gonna just smash it into his face.
Okay.
Oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, I'd say stealth check would be good. You're trying to blend, you're trying to hide inside a crowd.
Just kind of
So
like
for
if
you.
I was walking and I kind of tripped and like just smashed into his face.
I'd say
You
go
try to
for...
make it look like an accident. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, if you're trying to make it look like an accident,
Yes.
it would be performance. Because you're acting right now.
Okay, I'll take that. Let's do it.
Oh boy.
Oh, no, fuck. No, let me. Well, freak me. None of this is going well.
Let's just hope your roll did go well.
Okay. All right.
If
That
we could get
is-
to him, I got a plan to diffuse the situation, maybe.
Oh,
but
15?
15. You managed to slip by the one acting as a bodyguard, and you are within range of the one who has his hands on his mouth. You can make your plan. No one seems to have noticed you.
Yeah, I'll do that and kind of like act like I'm slipping and like fall and like try to catch myself while it smashes into his face, and as it happens, before he can react, I'll try to keep on walking into the crowd.
All right. So you bump into him and you smash that fruit in his face. Audience, I'd say make a perception roll.
Okay.
oh boy.
12.
12. All right. So all you hear is the scent, the master. And Tobiyashi, you managed to smush that fruit in his face, and you see
and I
him
just kinda
cough.
walk away. Yeah,
He
just go, I'm
turns-
sorry. So
he
sorry. I
turns
kind of
toward
start
you.
walking away.
Seemingly pissed. Watch where you're going, rat.
Oh, I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. I bow and kind of just keep watching and kind of walk away and circle from the outside and try to just keep sneaking.
I think we've lost
I'm
audience.
just confused.
Yeah?
Confused. If I'm
I thought
hearing
audience would
this-
see that. That's what I was hoping
The
for.
audience
but, I
is
mean,
just oblivious to anything other than his
Well, I
preaching,
just
you
heard,
know?
I heard this creepy whispering in my ear, followed by like random coughing, and I'm like, okay, this is just weird.
With your passive perception, Tobiyashi, you can easily assume that the crowd is too thick. Audience didn't see the guy stumbling around and yelling at you.
Oh, jeez. Okay. I'm going to I'm gonna try to circle back around, and I'm going to do it again. No, I'm trying. No. I'm gonna kind of head off forward, kind of noticing they're trying to plan something, and just keep an eye out for them, just like with a further distance away from me and audience.
All right. Well, what you did definitely had an effect because you see them stop progressing toward audience, but they don't leave. They just keep going in the same circle. However, right now they're not tightening the circle. But
They're cleaning themselves off.
well, one is cleaning himself up, but you do notice that the one acting as bodyguard now is actively looking at you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna just try to stealth in front.
All right.
Just
Audience, I will say make another persuasion roll to see if you can keep up this preaching, this level of preaching.
Alright, here we go.
essence. It's like Nacho Libre.
Not bad, it's an 18.
Yeah, it is.
Alright.
While you do not feel that you are up to the level that you were before, you think it's probably because you're starting to get thirsty a little bit. It's hard screaming like this. But everything is still going well. You are keeping the crowd. Everyone is very interested. You do, however, see a second priest moving about in the crowd. Tobiyashi, your passive perception allows you to see that it is not the second priest he is seeing. A third priest has joined the crowd.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Valtteri and Trevor. You keep moving around. You keep moving about with a little faster pace, and you easily start seeing people converging on a single point. You catch a few persons saying, "Oh, I've heard there's a dragonborn preaching something." And you hear another one saying, "I've heard there is going to be a fight. And someone has seen one of the priest of the hunter around. They don't forgive people for causing them trouble." So
Okay.
you gather that some are going there because they're attracted to the teachings, but others are going there because they feel like there might be a fight coming.
All right. And I guess I assume I see the way the crowd is moving there, and I guess I'll follow that. And I think we're close. It's the same ones from there's some priests from the encampment of the kobolds. We've got to get there. There's going to be a fight, it sounds like. So if we could get to them, just rush audience and tell them that your friend needs healing, that he is blind and deaf, and I'll handle the rest. And just keep moving and just keep pace with Tao. We got to get there quick. I'm saying this kind of quietly too. I'm kind of leaning over, as we're walking.
I don't know. What? So you want me to let you here and go without you?
No, keep pace with Tao. I'm just saying. I think I know where they're at now, and let's just keep going and keep pace with Tao and keep him in your sights.
Got it.
All right.
And I'm going to try and make Tao go just a little bit faster, so she has to go just a little bit faster. Not quite a run, but it's about as close as you could get to it, because I don't want her to run me into a freaking wall or something,
I was about to say, I think I'll go a little bit faster.
Well, Tao needs to be within 100 feet of you for you to see through his eyes. But it is an owl. He can actually see farther than 100 feet. So from where he is, you can actually start seeing this large crowd inside of a town square that is maybe 150, 200 feet away from you.
Okay. All right. I'll just say, watch where Tao goes and just get there as quick as we can, and I'll send him straight up to get a better view to see if I can see where they're at, and if I can, he's gonna make a nosedive and try and get as close to audience as he can and land on something kind of high up there.
All right.
10, about 15, 20 feet up in the air. Close enough where audience could hear him if I got there.
Oh yes, this is going to be a very nice perception roll for audience.
Because if all that goes, what Tao would do is he would land, just makes a big ass squawks, kind of lean towards audience, and just kind of flap his wings and say, "Hey," trying to get his attention best he can here.
Yeah, sure. So, where is that? No.
It's gonna be close.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Kid in the face.
Tobiyashi, you said you are actively looking for Trevor and Valtteri, so I will have you make a perception roll.
Okay. 15.
All right. You notice in the sky, which is a little bit odd for this time of the day, there is an owl coming your way.
Oh. And did I see where it came from?
Well, it is coming from roughly the direction where the next district would be.
Okay, I'm gonna start heading towards where the owl is going.
Well, it is going toward you. You mean where it was, where it is coming from, or where it is going?
Oh yeah. Well, I guess I'll be just walking towards it. I'll just keep going.
All right. Yeah. All right. Audience. Where is your attention right now? The crowd, the people gathering, the guards, Tobiyashi.
I mean, my focus is on giving the best sermon I've given in my entire life.
All right. Very well.
I'm like, damn! I'm finally getting a. This is perfect. I'm in a large city.
Yeah. Well, you've never
finding my jam, man.
you've never preached in a city this big. It's surprisingly easy. So.
Girl won't come in to watch him get killed.
Yeah. So slowly, you are noticing one thing. Because you are a warrior class, I would say, not an actual warrior, but a warrior class, a warring class. You are used to seeing how a fight goes and what is preparing a fight, and you are noticing that there seems to be a little bit of a rowdy atmosphere starting to creep inside the reaction of the crowd. It feels like a bar fight is about to happen. A bar fight involving roughly around 50 to 60 people. It sort of feels like not everyone in the crowd is there to listen to you. Some are actually there to look at something that's gonna happen, and it feels like a bar fight.
Okay.
But you are not losing any audience. You are drawing in the crowd, but you notice this and you feel this little atmosphere setting in.
Well, if someone takes a swing at me, I'm knocking them out.
That's all you can do, man.
Tobiyashi.
Self-defense. I didn't start it.
Tobiyashi. Yes. So you are now trying. Are you still keeping an eye on audience, or are you focusing on trying to reach Valtteri and Trevor?
No, I'm keeping an eye on audience, waiting for the bird to come towards me.
All right. Then I would say make a perception roll.
Oh gosh.
Thank God you and not audience.
As
19.
audience answers, the eyes closed part of his sermon.
Well, I'm sorry. What did
Gets so into it, his eyes close, and he's just going
almost?
down.
Yeah. No. He's so. What?
It was a 19.
19. All right. You notice that one of the three priests is keeping a close eye on you. And you notice that a second one is slowly creeping up on audience. And you notice the third one, again, placing his hands in front of his mouth.
Oh gosh. Can I notice that he's about to attack him? Do I see their mouths moving? Like, do I see any ordinances going off between them, or any?
Right now, no. The one that is covering his mouth, you can't see what he's doing. The one getting closer to audience, the crowd is too thick. You can't see his arms. You see his head, you see his shoulder, and you can make out the top part of the symbol that they have. But you don't see what his hands are doing. As for the one looking at you, well, he has his arm crossed and is looking intently at you.
Okay. I'm gonna start heading over towards the audience, or where I seen him. Just nonchalantly.
Audience, you hear again this disembodied voice saying, "The hunter wants to make a point. He wants to make an example of those who would disturb his hunt."
Okay. Kind of putting this with the atmosphere, I begin to kind of like get a sense that I might be a target in this.
All right.
So I'm not gonna stop preaching. I'm gonna like, while I'm preaching, because my longsword actually has a dragon on the blade, I'm gonna draw my longsword and shield and kind of use it in my preaching to like kind of like exaggerate my motions, but also like nonchalantly have my shield and sword equipped.
All right. Well, of course, as soon as you draw your sword and your shield, you notice that you have drawn the attention of the guards. Tobiyashi, what is disturbing to you is that you notice that all the guards have started to look at audience, and none of them are looking at the priests right now.
Oh gosh. So what are my options?
I'm gonna give you a few moments to think about this. Valtteri and Trevor, you are starting to get into the thick of a crowd. You have reached the edge of everyone that's been gathering around. And Tao is letting you see that right in the middle of this crowd is audience. If you want to find Tobiyashi in the crowd, I would ask you to make a perception roll.
Well, let's see if I can do a quick scan, but my focus is audience, because I'm sure just having a quick look around, I can see he's the focus of attention right now. Yeah, that was like a 15, so.
All right. Well, you're not paying much attention to Tobiyashi. However, with a 15, you are noticing that audience has his shield and his longsword drawn. Last you saw, he only had a great sword. So you see him with a shield and a longsword drawn, preaching loudly about the dragons, but you can notice that he is also scanning around him. He is expecting something, but you notice that all the guards are looking at him, and with a 15, you notice one of the priests inside the crowd. You notice the one that has his hands on his mouth and having. Well, I'm gonna make you make an intelligence roll. Arcana roll.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's definitely good enough. That's an 18 plus 6, so yeah.
You've often seen this stance, this way of holding your hands in front of your mouth. This priest is using ascending spell. Not ascending spell, a message spell.
Message, yeah.
And he is trying to cover his mouth while he is probably using the proper material to make this the message.
Yeah. Yep, I've been practicing that one myself to use as my next cantrip when I can take one. So yeah, I recognize it. So, but yeah, well, Tao being perched up, probably like right behind audience will just make one of them loud, ear-piercing barn owl screeches and just start flapping his wings and kind of like lean in towards audience there, trying to get his attention. I was telling Valerie, follow the sound. Start yelling that you need the Dragonborn Paladin to heal me.
And I will actually do that. Like, I will try to kind of push the masses to get me a path. And also not scream, but say loudly to please let us through. My friend needs help from the Dragonborn that is over there.
Alright, I'm going to have you make a... Are you trying to force people out of your way or attract the attention of audience?
I'm not really forcing, but like making them notice me to let me through and trying to get audience. Well, probably won't really work because of the owl, but...
No,
yeah,
well,
actually, the owl's probably getting a lot of attention right now, probably.
What I wanted to know was, are you screaming your way to audience, or are you pushing your way to audience?
I'm not screaming. I'm talking loudly. And I'm not really pushing. I'm like making them notice me.
She's trying to be as polite as she can and not cause a scene.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, in that case,
by the neck. Oh, get out of my way.
No, I'm just trying to figure out what charisma roll. I was looking at intimidation, but with the description she just said, no. I'm gonna go with persuasion. You're trying to persuade people to make way for you.
Please let me through.
Yeah.
Good thing I have 0 on charisma.
All right. Well, you are sheepishly trying to persuade people out of the way.
17. I hope this works.
17. That's actually very good.
Okay.
So you are managing to make way, and you are actually finding one of the interesting perks of being a tiefling. People notice you, and some will actually make a step back.
And I'll be like, and when I like pass them, I'll be like, thank you, like really politely. Just go.
All right. I'd say audience and Tobiashi make a perception roll.
I get
12.
an advantage because I got an owl screaming in his ear.
All right, I'll allow this because of Valtteri and Trev and the.
Still 12.
So 12.
Jesus.
Tobiashi?
20.
20. Well, audience, you don't notice a thing. You just keep preaching. You notice one of the priests and you're looking at him. You're expecting something to come from him. And you can actually see one of the priests that has his hands in front of his mouth. And you can still hear him say, This is going to be good. You will make a good example.
I have a question.
Yes.
So I could see that they're trying to persist doing what they're doing, right?
Well, you can see them going around him, and it sort of feels like a predator trying to, well, isolate a prey. They're slowly moving in circle, tightening the circle. One of them is looking at you, but with your perception roll, I was going to say you actually notice Tao. You hear the scream of Tao, and you notice Valtteri politely trying to make her way through the crowd, saying, sorry, move. I said move. Thanks.
I said move.
Thank you.
Well, since I see them still,
with a 20, you can see all of this. You see Valtteri trying to make its way to audience. You see Tao. You are pretty sure that Trevor isn't far off. You see the guards preparing for a fight. You see the 3 priests, one of them looking at you, one of them looking at audience with his hands in front of his mouth, and one of them slowly creeping his way to audience from the back.
Okay, this is my only option. How far is the guy who's creeping up on an audience?
I'd say a good 40 to 50 feet away from you. And it's going to be 40, 50 feet inside a crowd if you want to go to him. So this would be counted as difficult terrain.
Question.
Yes.
Can I move 5 feet up, and since you're the DM, you decide if I'm proficient in throwing fruit?
Well, this is an improvised weapon, so there are already rules about this. It is an improvised weapon, so this would be throwing would be you can use dexterity no matter what. So this would be dexterity with your modifier, but without your proficiency.
Okay, so just +3. All right. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna try to aim for that guy, and hopefully I hit him.
Roll.
Oh my god, this is gonna go so bad.
16.
16 just hits.
Just
Audience,
Just
you
passes
see this
audience.
fruit coming right for you, but it
I
goes
just say, watch out.
right beside your left ear, and you hear the sound of a fruit getting mushed to pieces, and someone says, "Ugh!" And we're gonna take the break here.
Hey. All right, I gotta get water.
I also need to go get water.
All right, so see you back in 10 minutes.
Oh my god.
Oh,
Back in
boy.
10
Great.
minutes. Bye.
Alright.
Bye.
I'll see you.
Hello.
Howdy.
So, welcome back. So, just before the break, Tobiyashi managed to throw a fruit at an incoming priest just behind audience and actually managed to hit the priest. So, last thing audience heard before the break was ugh, just behind him. Audience, what do you do?
I mean, I will look behind me. I'm like a fruit just flew by my head.
You look behind you and you see maybe not directly behind you, but just one person between you and that person. You see this priest with the symbol of the wolf head that you saw in the kobold camp. And you see his face covered in the remnants of a fruit, and also he had his hand outstretched, and you see a faint magical emanation from his hand dissipating as he recoils from the hit of the fruit. Apparently he was casting a spell that he just lost.
I yell,
Okay.
"Get away!"
And you hear, coming from nowhere, "Get away!" And you hear a lot of people in the crowd yelling, "Yeah!"
I will not get away.
Wow.
I will shout. I will shout out to the crowd. And so those who do not wish to hear the words of the dragons try to strike down their voice and kind of like shout that out to the crowd. And as I shout that out, I'm going to jump down on the priest who can't see me, so wiping his face, and try to smack him with my shield. Not hit him with my, but I'm going to smack him on the head.
All right, well, it is an improvised weapon, and it is a strength one, so roll for attack with your strength modifier, but no...
Well, if I try and hit with the hilt of the sword, if I try and hit with the hilt of the sword, would it just be normal, but instead, like...
Yeah. With
Okay, I'll just hit him with the hilt of my sword.
trying to hit him with the hilt of the sword, I would say would be the same as holding back, so it would be just a normal attack roll with very little damage.
There goes our plan.
Still might be able to do it. I don't know.
Going for the gladiator.
Sorry, my mic got unplugged there. What, it was a normal attack?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, so that would be good. So 18.
18. Well, that does hit. Your volume is just a little bit low. Maybe your microphone is too far.
Okay.
All right. But I heard it, 18. So, yes, you hit him. He does take a step back. Doesn't do a lot of damage, but he is slightly surprised as he is.
I'm just trying to knock him out. I'm just like, bop.
He does take a step back, and he looks at you with very angry eyes. You hear this disembodied voice coming from somewhere saying, "Very interesting reaction. We will remember it. We have your scent."
I'll say, good. Bring it on, bitch.
Maybe we should go away.
You rain down the fruit, just fruit. Raining, no, I'm saying.
Tobiyashi, you just see this. You throw the fruit. The priest recoils. You see audience just smack the priest with the hilt of his blade. The priest does go back. It does recoil even further, taking one step away. You see one of the priests still with his hands in front of his mouth. You see the third one walking briskly toward you. Doesn't have any weapons drawn, but he is moving directly toward you. You notice with your passive perception, and also Trevor, because of you're still connected to Tau, you can see the guards that are currently moving toward the center. They've let go of any pretense of just being watching. They have their weapons ready, and they are moving toward the center. It doesn't feel like they're attacking, but they are moving threateningly toward the center.
Get it in position for their final approach kind of thing. Yeah, I think that's
I'm going to ready a grapple action for when he gets near me.
All right.
I'm
Tao
just
is
going.
still screaming at audience, trying to get his attention.
Yeah, I would just grapple him to the ground if I could. Once he gets in my range.
Audience is in battle mode. Audience does not see Tao.
Do you keep engaging the priest, or are you just waiting to see how he's going to react?
Well, I'm gonna wait to see how he reacts. I hit him on the
Ready's
head.
in action.
I'll like ready. I mean, I'll pretty much ready. Like if he comes at me, I'll hit him again.
He just
Alright,
like
well-
walks up.
Can I have Tao fly down and like land in front of audience and still scream at him and flap his
Attack
wings?
audience. Scratch
Not
audience
attack
in the
him,
face.
just like get right in his face and say, "Hey!"
Well, yeah,
Do you
sure,
see
you
me now?
can. Yeah, sure, you can. Owl aren't known for their ability to hover in place, but you can make
I was
a
thinking
pass
like land
or
on
just...
the ground right
Oh,
in
on the
front
ground,
of him.
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
in between me and the priest. That's an interesting choice.
No, not in between. I would say like right behind him because you got like you, the priest, and I'll be like right behind him. So if you're looking down at the priest, you're gonna see Tao sitting there flapping his wings in front of him. You know, like on the opposite sides of.
Like,
of
no,
Yeah,
it's
sure.
senpai.
Yeah, sure, you can easily do that. And audience, you see that the priest is not attacking you. He is disengaging slowly. He's looking at you intently with anger in his eyes, but he is not engaging. He is withdrawing. And as he is withdrawing, you see this owl, which is slightly familiar, land just in front of you, flapping his wings, probably trying to attract your attention.
I'm gonna notice the owl. I'm gonna give the owl a wink so the owl notices that I noticed the owl. And then I'm gonna turn back to the crowd and give like the loud
Oh
shout
my
I had yet and been like, the enemies of the dragons have been defeated, and kind of raise my arms up.
Tao just shakes his head and will fly back up to his perch.
And of course, Valtteri, you are trying to make your way to audience, so you hear him boast about this victory of the followers of the dragon over the followers of, well, whoever they are. Tobiyashi, you see the priest is going toward you, and he is almost on you. Do you let him try to touch you, or do you just go ahead and grapple him, like you said you... He is literally 5 feet in front of you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and instantly grapple him.
Alright.
I'll grapple him to the ground.
Alright, well, this is a contested strength check.
Okay. Let me get to my strength real quick. Okay, I'm there. And oh gosh, my strength. Okay, let's do this.
Oh god, good or oh god,
17.
bad?
17.
16 plus 1.
Alright, unfortunately, he rolled a natural 19, which, with his modifier, puts him above you. So you try to grapple him, but he managed to push you off, and he does draw a dagger and try to hit you with it.
It just... Okay, what does he roll?
He rolled a 5.
Okay, just like
So
dodge
you
it and then...
easily manage to just slap away the incoming dagger.
And then I'm gonna come around and roll for an attack on his face.
Then I'd say roll for initiative with him.
9.
Alright. Well, he goes before you. He has 17.
Gosh, he's going again. I block it. And
Yes.
he's just like,
Again, he is only using a dagger. It is a 12.
doesn't hit.
Alright.
Blocks it again.
Yes,
and then,
you
yeah,
easily
come around.
managed to dodge the blow.
Ooh. Ooh. See. All right. Well, why not? I want to get this over fast. Yeah, I'll use a flurry of blows. First one of the game.
All right.
Use one of my key, and yeah, that is 2 unarmed strikes, so that's 3 attacks. Okay. So that's a natural 1.
Well, you hit him and you notice that he's wearing a chainmail. It sort of hurts your hands a bit.
Next one. $19.
That does hit.
Okay, and then this
Roll
one.
for
13.
doesn't hit. So you
Okay.
have 1 hit. Roll for
Wow.
damage.
Okay, let's see, that's 1d4. That's 3. That's 8 points of damage.
He takes it, grins a little. You hear this. And then we go back on top of the round.
Okay. Oh, do I notice anybody moving towards us? Is there a crowd around us? Oh god.
Well, actually, no. The crowd does seem to be parting slightly because they're scared of what just happened, and you notice that 2 guards have diverted and are coming toward you.
Okay.
However, this is just a round is 6 seconds. A turn is 6 seconds, so they basically just noticed you and had time to make 1 step in your direction. So
Okay.
the priest attacks you with a 15.
My armor class is a 15.
Well, then it hits.
Oh gosh. Okay.
He
Get
hits
stabbed,
you
guys.
he hits you with a dagger,
All right.
doing a massive 3 hit points of damage.
Okay. That's good. All right.
And
I'm
then
gonna
you
stop. Okay.
you see him raise the dagger and say, "Now we have your scent." And he sniffs the dagger and start moving away from you.
I'm gonna rush him and headbutt him in the nose.
Go ahead.
Can't have it if you can't smell.
That is the audience type of energy I respect.
That's a 18 to hit,
It does hit.
and I could do an unarmed strike, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And yeah, that's
should be
it.
proficient.
Headbutt him.
Yeah, that's a monk.
All right.
Oh
go
yeah.
ahead.
Okay. Yeah.
Break his nose. Break his
Break
nose.
his nose.
Break his nose.
That's 5. Wait.
To hit or
Yeah.
for damage?
5. For damage. I rolled
For
an 18.
damage. All right.
Yeah. To hit. Yeah. Sorry. I thought I already said that. And that is for the first one, and then for the second one. Same amount. 5.
What did you roll for hit? The second one.
Oh. $16?
It does hit. Just.
Okay.
So yeah, you managed to do a 10 hit points of damage. Actually, he recoils and almost falls to his knees. He is looking extremely injured. He's still up, but not by much. He is bleeding. You gave him 2 headbutts, so he's heavily bleeding from his nose.
All right. Is he gonna attack?
He gets back up, looks at you, and disengage, saying, "You can kill me now, but the hunters knows you now."
Oh gosh. Well, I learned my lesson last time, so. I'm going to use Step of the Wind And I'm going to disengage back to where audience is.
All right.
If I could get to exactly where he's at.
So you let the priest leave.
Yes.
All right. Well, the whole exchange lasted 18 seconds, so yeah, not a lot of things had happened around you, except that I'd say Valtteri make a perception roll.
Yay!
See me beat someone up real quick.
Let's see. Perception. Oh, I even have a +4 on that. Okay. 17.
17. Well, you actually notice the end of this. You notice Tobiyashi almost jumping back to where he was and managing to move through the crowd as almost as if they weren't there. Of course, Tobiyashi for you, because you're trying to make your way through the crowd, it's half movement, but because you're using Step of the Wind, it doubles your movement, so you're basically moving as if nothing had happened. So it does feel like you're moving unnaturally easily through the cloud. Not the cloud, the crowd.
Let's look into the cloud real quick.
So Valtteri, you see him disengage from from someone, and when you look at who was in front of him, you see someone bleeding profusely, and you see on the chest of this person the emblem of the hunter god.
I'm like, oh no, not those guys.
Tip their hat.
And I'll still try to get thinking that Trevor has a plan with why he wants to get to audience. And
All right.
try to go to him.
The three priests are slowly trying to make their way out of here. The priest that is bleeding does find itself in front of a guard. The guard that was trying to chase Tobiyashi just loses him in the crowd. Doesn't exactly... He was there, and then he knows you went in that direction, but he's looking to the crowd and doesn't see you anymore. Audience, you turn around and tell everyone that the dragons have triumphed over this wolf person called thing, and the crowd just explodes in a roar. What? And you actually see some of them screaming, "For the dragons! For the dragons!" You see a good number of guards approaching you. They're not threatening you of an attack, but you notice the defensive position of a city guard. So you know that you've seen them quite often, so you know they're not going to attack you if you don't do something aggressive.
Yeah.
But they are there to disperse the crowd and, well, I'd say make an intelligence roll. Straight intelligence roll.
Ooh, I love those.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love those.
13.
Where's Trevor?
13. Oh, that's not bad. You make a high enough roll to believe that, oh, they're just acting too late. They're trying to prevent us from fighting. Oh, yeah. They're just a little bit too late. It's city guards. So they do get to you. What do you do when 5 of them reaches you?
I mean, I'll sheath my weapons. I feel like the priest won't attack me with 5 guards around me, and I don't want to seem threatening. And I'll basically, at this point, it's like I feel like I've made my point across, so I'll stop preaching. I feel like everyone's on my side, kind of at this moment in time, at least.
Is this when I pop up next to him?
With the speed at which you're going, Yeah, I'd say you could be reaching him right about now. Of course, when you reach it, when you just burst out of the crowd, there is at least one guard that turns briskly toward you and put his weapon in front of you.
I kind of like reach towards the audience. I'm like, hey, audience, seeing all these guards around, like, I'm a little
Audience, you
late.
see one of the guard reacting to Tobiyashi just bursting out of the crowd.
I say, audience,
I'll say
you
I'll turn
found
to
out
her.
already.
I'll be like, it's fine. He's a friend. He's not gonna attack.
As
Alright,
they get
well,
closer.
the guard does stay on guard. The guard does stay on guard, but he doesn't attack you. He, however, keeps his spear pointing toward you.
Well,
Valtteri, you actually managed to find your way through the circle, and you see audience talking with 5 city guard, Tobiyashi with a spear in front of him. You see Tao on the ground, flapping, trying to attract attention, but it's easy to see that he just, again, lost audience attention.
Okay, I'll walk to audience and be like, please, dear sir, please help my friend. He's blind and deaf. Please help him. And I lightly wink so that he would act also with us and not like us, that if he would know me.
I will let this to you, audience. Do you feel that audience needs to make an intelligence roll to understand what she's trying to imply, or do you think he's smart enough to understand on his own?
Well, like, so he definitely understood her, but to like pretend to not recognize her, yes. I think he would have to make an intelligence roll.
Yeah, he wouldn't understand the strategy if it stabbed him in the face.
Well, at
So-
least something that's not like a military. He'd understand kind of like a military strategy, but not
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Not something
but-
a little more subtle, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so you're trying to make it look like you are accepting to help this person. Is that it? Audience?
No, I'm just rolling to see if I recognize that she doesn't want me to pretend to not recognize
Okay.
her or something.
And what did you
Which
roll?
I rolled a 5.
No, you don't recognize that she's trying to be subtle.
All right, I'll be like, "Oh, Valtteri, it's good to see you again. Who needs help?"
I'm like, I point.
Am I standing like right next to her?
Well,
I think it's still behind
were
me.
you still
holding her
trying
hand.
to drag him along through the crowd?
Or did you just leave me all the way at the back?
No, I kept holding her hand the whole time.
All right, so yes, Trevor, you are at arm's length of Valtteri.
I just
So-
left you in the last district.
So I'm kind of pull him to me and I put him in front of.
Trevor will just pull his hood back and you can just see his eyes kind of like he's got major cataracts, you know. He looks like he's blind in his eyes. So it's like, just
Audience,
waits there to see if audience will at least touch him or whatever.
audience, I'd say make a straight intelligence roll.
Again.
I elbow
to see if he
audience.
remembers.
I elbow audience right in the ribs.
That's a solid 4.
That's a solid 4. All
yeah,
right.
I elbow him in the ribs.
Well, you see Trevor in front of you. He seems to be blind with cataract in his eyes, and just as you look at him with a slight, almost iconic interrogation mark floating on your head, you feel Tobiyashi just elbows you in the ribs.
Okay, I'm like, I turn to Tobiyashi. I'm like, what? I'm like, can't you see? Trevor's blind.
Well, do something about it.
I'm like, are we in front of the? Because I know Tal is right there, and I can see it hear everything. Are we in front of the paladin? Could he please heal me so I might see again?
The guards are looking at all of you very confused, not sure if they should interfere or not.
I'll turn to Kobayashi. I'm like, I don't know if I have. Well, actually, wait, no.
Actually, you
No,
can
that-
use
yeah, that
lay on
doesn't-
hands to heal some
Yeah,
problems.
but not.
Trevor
Yeah,
will
but
whisper real
I
quiet.
mean, it's cure a disease or neutralize a poison. I have to. I'll turn to Trevor. I'll be like, I'll turn to Valtteri because he's blind. I'll be like, what happened? How did he become blind?
Trevor will just kind of whisper, "Just touch me."
Tobiyashi.
Yes.
All right, I'd say audience because he was whispering and because you're such a thick head. I'd say roll a perception roll. Tobiyashi, however, because
You
of your
should automatically
feet,
pick it up.
you actually easily notice Trevor just whisper, "Just touch me," facing audience because of your feet that allows you to read lips.
I rolled a 14.
You roll a 14. Well, it's a bit hard to notice through the crowd, but you think that he just asked you or trying to ask you discreetly to touch him.
Okay, I'll be like, what weird, but whatever. I'll put my hand on him.
Okay. And at that point, he'll dismiss this connection with Tao and his vision and hearing. He'll come back. He's like, "Oh, thank you, good sir."
And as you see his eyes coming back to normal, you hear the crowd. And you hear someone screaming, "He healed him! He healed him!"
And Trevor will come up, give him a hug, say, "Thank you, good sir," and he'll whisper in his ear, "You wouldn't know a strategy if it punched you in the face." And he'll come back and say, "Thank you, good sir. Let me repay you by this and buy you a drink." And then he'll also whisper to him, "Follow my lead. Leave."
You hear someone
point-
screaming in the crowd saying, "Praise the dragon! They've healed a poor blind man!"
At this point, I'm very like it's too much. I'm like very confused. I'm like Trevor was blind and now he's not blind, and I'm like, oh, the dragons must have healed him. That's what I assume at this point. I'm like, oh, the dragons must have blessed him. So I'll just kind of like raise my hands to the crowd, kind of give a wave, and then follow Trevor.
Trevor will just say, "You owe me."
I bow to the guards and follow them.
Just as you're about to leave, you hear one of the guards actually just... Wait a minute.
Yes.
Which one of us?
You don't know because you just went past him, so you hear him loud and clear, but you don't see who he's looking
Alright,
at.
I mean, I'll turn
For those of you looking at the guard, it doesn't seem like he is pointing at one of you specifically. He's just saying, "Wait a minute," to the group.
Yep. And I'll just turn around and say, "Oh my God, I can hear that now." "Yes, good sir."
You hear a
I answer.
halfling screaming in the crowd. He also healed his hearing. The dragons are awesome.
So my religion spreads.
So, the guard that just says that rolls his eyes as the halfling says this, and he looks at all of you and says, "From now on, if you plan on making another display like this, try to get a permit for this. There are other religions and some cult that will try to rival you. If you have a permit, we can actually make sure that no one else tries to harm you." And he points toward Tobiyashi, who has blood on his nose, but not his blood.
I just real quick.
I'll be like,
I think-
where would I get a permit?
You can find someone to hand you a permit at any garrison. Just look for a gate in front of a district. You can at least find someone who can issue one or get you to someone who can issue one within the hour.
I'll give him a nod.
Come on, good sir. You've earned a drink for healing me. It's the least I can do to repay you. He's just like, and I need one myself at this point.
I turned back to Trevor and I'm like, it wasn't me, it was the dragons. Because I'm still just confused.
And
I elbow Trevor in the
ribs
ribs
closing my
again.
eyes and shaking my head, and I'm like, we'll discuss this over drink, sir.
I just want to leave this giant group. I feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, Sam, I'm perspiring right now.
As you say this, Valtteri, you see this human, just walking in front of you, stopping in front of you, but looking at audience, and she has a child in her hand, and she says, "Will you bless my child?"
Will you sign my baby?
I'll say, but of course, and I'll like lay my hand on and say like, blessed be the dragons who watch over us, and put my hand on its
She
head.
gets all emotional and thanks you. Thank you, oh priest of the dragons. And she leaves.
I'm like lightly pulling on Trevor and audience hands or like shirts and like, can we go now?
Yes,
Please.
please. Let us go.
Go to a bar.
Yes.
The monk is
Time
hurrying to a bar.
unwind. We have a lot to talk about.
So the group is finally reunited. Are you looking for a tavern or an inn inside the industrial district, or do you want to change district?
I think we probably want to change districts at this point. Just get
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a local hero right now.
I'm pretty sure it's going to spread across the whole city before this is over with. So
Yeah, if a woman
think
asks
it's
you to
wise
bless her
to be
child, she probably comes from the other district, not the industrial one.
That's true.
Think she traveled that far.
yeah. Think audience that have the intelligence to pick up on that though.
Exactly. Anyway, I'll just follow Trevor though for now. I'll
Alright.
go to where.
Like, yeah, I can see. I'll lead the way now. Yeah. Still trying to play this off until at least we get out of the frickin' district, you know.
Ah,
All right. So where do you lead them? First inn that you can find, or something bit more out of the way, or literally outside
as
of
long
the
as we
city?
can get not outside of the city, but I will at least get us just into another district and then just find the first decent looking inn or tavern, whatever I come across first.
Yeah, sure.
But I want out of this district.
You change district fairly easily. The crowd is slowly parting, letting you go through. And well, as you're walking down the street, I'd say Tobiyashi is the one that noticed this.
hey.
People, common folk, are following you.
Oh God.
There's about 5 or 6 commoner peasants following you.
Do they look like they have malicious intent?
No, they look like someone following their new priest.
I feel really uncomfortable and pull my hood over my head because I don't want to have to deal with this.
Trevor pick up on him as well, or
I'm going to.
I'd say make a perception roll, Trevor.
What?
Trevor, what is your passive perception? Just give me a moment.
13, which I rolled a 13, and that's a plus 3, so 16.
All right. Yes, I'd say you notice this, but a few moments after Tobiyashi, he does beats you with a 17, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would just walk up to him and be like, "You see that too?" And I hand him one of the fruits from my bag.
Yeah, like, yes, could you get rid of him? And I'll say that to the audience too.
So as he says this, audience, you notice that 6 people, common folks, are following you, and you've seen this kind of following before. It does feel like they're following their new priests, the new priests of their deity.
Wait, I'm a priest too?
No.
Okay.
Just me.
We all subclass into priest now.
Yeah. You're just like a bishop or something.
You take the fruit, Trevor.
Oh,
You
yeah,
take
sure.
the
I'll
fruit.
take it. Yeah. I didn't know if you said it to me or the freaking
Okay.
Yeah.
when we have behind us now.
So audience, you see those 6 people following you.
Okay. I'll turn back to them and I'll be like, my children, what is your desire?
We want to follow you. It's a human that speaks human male. He takes the lead of the group, which is composed of 3 humans. One of them is a woman. There is a half-elf male and a halfling male. I think that's it, 6. We
Okay.
want to follow you. We want to know what you have to say about the dragons. We want to be there for the next miracle you perform.
I'll say,
Trevor will kind of. Oh, go ahead. You go first.
no, you can say what you want, 'cause
No. But Trevor just kind of lean over to him and whisper, "Tell them to go spread your word, then be more useful that way." And it would get rid of them.
I'll say, right now, I'll turn to them and I'll be like, thank you. I am glad that you have heard the word of the dragons. Actually, I'll ask, do you know of a good inn nearby?
The halfling answers, yes. There is. It's a small inn, and usually not where people go first, but it is a small inn. But the patrons are very nice. The innkeeper is a very, very nice, very elderly dragonborn. He will probably greet us all with open arms. The inn is called the Dancing Purple Unicorn.
All right, I'll say, thank you. Would you lead us there?
Yes, of course.
And Trevor just lets out a big sigh.
So he leads you to this small inn, and well, actually, because all of you can read Dragonborn, can read Draconic. When you get in front of the inn, you realize that it's not called the Dancing Purple Unicorn. It is just how a poor halfling was trying to pronounce a dragonborn named Inn. It is actually something a lot more sober because it is, after all, a dragonborn. It is the noble. Sorry. Drank too much at that inn. Sorry. It is just saying the noble barrel.
The noble barrel. Okay.
But when you try to read it from a point of view of a common language, it sort of feels like when you're trying to pronounce it phonetically from directly draconic to common, it actually does sound a little bit like the purple unicorn.
I whispered to Trevor, I think this is not really what it's supposed to mean like.
The halfling looks at you with a smile. He is proud of what he's just done.
Well, at least they
Alright.
got it right that it is an inn.
I'll say,
I walk in to get away from the crowd.
I'll turn to the 6 and I'll be like, "Thank you. I must now go speak with my friends, as it has been a long time since I have spoken with them. But I promise I will preach again tomorrow. Until then, my task for you would simply be to go and try and spread the word of the dragons to as many as you can. And I'll tell them that I'll try and speak again in the square at some point tomorrow."
Exactly. That's always fun. I'm looking at everyone's reaction. He looks at you and says, "Yes, yes, of course. We should have thought about this. We will be there tomorrow to listen to your word. And after that, we will spread the word of the dragons."
I'll just give them a nod and kind of like touch each of their heads with my hands. Like I'm blessing them.
When you touch the head of the half elf, he actually becomes very emotional, and you see his knees almost buckling, but he just stays up and then leaves.
I'm like lightly rolling my eyes, but not really visible because I still have the hood over my head.
Trevor just shakes his head and just goes and walks into the inn.
I'm following him.
I'm already in there.
Yeah, I know you're the first one in. So.
Alright, so
Alright.
Toby, as you are the
This whole
first one
time.
to enter the inn, you see that the inn is mostly empty. There are a few customers, a few patrons there. You can see in the back there's a group of 2 humans that are slowly enjoying probably an ale. There is a halfling and a dwarf talking in a corner. And you see the innkeeper, who is definitely a very elderly dragonborn. You cannot identify what dragonborn that is because his scales have faded in color and it just looks like a gray dragonborn.
I walk up and say, "Good day, sir. May I get an ale in a room?"
Yes, yes, of course. Are you alone or will there be others?
There are some behind me, but they're busy with something. They'll be here soon.
Very well, very well. How many rooms will you be needing?
4, probably 4.5, because we have a dragonborn with us.
Oh! How would a dragonborn take 1.5 rooms? There's a wall between them, you know.
You can't even get monk humor. Okay. Never mind. Just 4 rooms.
Very well. The rooms will be ready within an hour. Meanwhile, it is still very early, so would you also like to eat with your ale?
Why not?
Very well. So he gives you a choice of a small variety of things. Basically, the cheapest one being a soup, and the best one that he can actually gives you being pieces of meat with a little bit of cheese and bread and an ale. So he lets you choose between the cheapest and the best that he has.
Yeah, I'll just get the bowl of soup.
The bowl of soup. Sorry. Very well. So for the ale and the soup, he will ask you for 5 copper. And is there one amongst you who will pay for all the rooms, or are you all going to pay for your own room?
I would say we're all paying for our own rooms.
Very well.
No audience. The god man over here is. No, I'm just saying.
Yeah, man of the hour is catching the tab.
I can't find the lodging. I'm sorry.
One gold a day.
Inn. Here you go. No. So it's not a big inn. I'd say he gives you a choice between a very modest room or a room that is mostly for those who really don't have a lot of money. Basically,
Okay,
it's either poor quality or modest quality.
I'll pick a modest quality one.
All right. So for the room, it will be 5 silver.
Okay. There we go.
So just as you settle your tab, you see Valtteri, Trevor, and audience entering the inn. Valtteri, audience, and Trevor, you see the same thing as Tobiashi just saw when entering. You see in one corner 2 humans sharing a drink, a dwarf and a halfling in another corner, and you see Tobiashi at the counter speaking with a very elderly dragonborn whose colors on his scales have all but faded.
When we go in, I take off my hood. Kind of feeling more comfortable now because there aren't that many people.
You're muted, I believe.
Eh.
Wait, you.
There we go. Okay. Yeah, I was going to say Trevor's has stayed off ever since he showed his eyes, but he'll have towel on his shoulder coming in, though, and just shake his head. Just tell audience, you owe me for that. To reduce myself to these party tricks that you talk about, making myself blind and curing myself to make you look good.
I just kind of give you a confused look. Like, what?
And just for a second, he'll connect with Tao for the vision and then immediately undo it. So you see his eyes cloud back over and then undo again. Anything? Do you get it?
You see the disappointment in the audience eyes.
I'll look a little disappointed, and I'll just kind of shrug, be like, "Oh."
I saved you from probably getting arrested, so that made you look good there. So just remember that, please.
I'll turn to him. I'll say, all I remember is you abandoning me, and then walk away to the bar.
Audience, I got stabbed for you twice.
Oh no, I like you.
Oh no, I just tell you that. That's it.
I'll say, it is truly an honor to have you as a friend and to see that you are so willing to bleed for my cause.
No problem.
I was going to say, Trevor walked up to the bar behind him, so he's hearing all this as well, but he just kind of ignores it and say, do you guys have wine here?
Yes, it is a little bit higher quality than what we're used to, but yes, we do have some. We are starting to prepare for the solstice of light, so yes, we have started to receive wine.
I just need a glass for now. How much?
The bottle.
Yeah, there's only a pitcher and a bottle.
I'll take the pitcher then, yeah.
2 silver.
Alright. Good enough for me.
Just
He'll
like
probably
drinking
drink
it
the
from
whole
the
damn
pitcher.
thing himself at this point, out of his frustration with audience.
Valtteri, you
So-
see all of this love and frustration rolling around in the room.
I go to the group and at least we're together now again. So we aren't that weak as 2 groups anymore. That's good. I kind of try to be positive too.
I don't know why, I've just heard Kermit the Frog starting to sing that song, Together Again.
Trevor will get the pitcher,
try-
not even get a glass first, but just take a drink out of the pitcher. And he says, "So how was the boat ride? Smooth sailing?"
And I'm slowly shaking my head, like, why did you have to bring that up? And
I'll be
No.
like,
Well-
I'll be like, not quite. We were attacked by undead pirates, but I killed their captain, and we took their ship for our crew. Just kind of like, so we did fine without you.
Yeah, sounds like I made the right decision myself. So they were all worked out well.
I sit there. I have no opinion.
As the tension starts to rise a little
Yes,
bit here.
We can feel
I-
the unity of the group.
I go to Toby, remembering him saying that he got kind of stabbed or something, and are you okay? Do you need any healing or something?
Yeah, just a little bit. I kind of got sliced during that confrontation. I don't know what that guy said, but he said he has my scent or something.
Can I see the wound?
Yeah, I show it to her wherever it is.
A small dagger slash across his abdomen.
I'm gonna use Cure Wounds on him. It's 1d8 plus 4.
Well, with the
Oh,
plus
1d8.
4, it's enough to heal him to max.
Yeah,
So.
that's don't have to roll.
Okay, you're healed, my friend.
Thank you. I
She
bow.
gathers
I
the
say,
magical energy of healing, touches the wound, and you see the wound just.
I go to everyone. I take a drink from my ale and I say, for what happened on the boat and you leaving us on the island, I have nothing to say, but I wish you the best of luck. And I'm going to drink the rest of my ale and I go to my room.
All right. So you see Tobiashi just getting up, go to his room. Tobiashi, your room is on the second floor, but when you arrive, you surprise a poor human woman actually preparing your room. He did say it was going to be ready in an hour, and it's
Oh, yeah, huh?
barely been 10 minutes.
No, I'll help her with it.
Oh, she's very touched by your kindness. Usually people don't help me prepare their own room. It is very kind, sir.
Oh yes, I have no problem. It's my pleasure. I started setting up my room with my my little statues and stuff, the monk thing.
Wait, but didn't you also order something to eat?
You could bring it to my room.
Okay.
I just need to get the fuck away from you guys for a little while.
Like I need to get away from everybody.
Start fresh in the morning after a rest.
I forgive you guys all. Just get the hell out of here.
I'll go to the inn owner and ask for a cup of water or something, and also something to
Trevor
eat.
will ask, "Would you like some wine?"
I never drank any alcohol, so no thanks.
Not interested in trying? You just pour a cup and slide it over to her, and then go back to the address audience. Well, I had my own reasons for going the way I did, but don't really think I need to explain myself. But we're all here together, so I guess we'll just go from there.
I'm basically ignoring Trevor at this point.
I feel really uncomfortable.
You can feel the awkward turtle.
I try to communicate with the audience to see if he's ignoring me as well or not.
I am not. What do you say, though?
Did you got hurt in any way before? Because I kind of heard that you were kind of punching one of the other priests.
I'll give a
Guys.
laugh, and I'll be like, don't worry about me. He never even got a hit in. He was a cowered and ran away, like some members of our party. Just kind of glance over at Trevor. Back.
And
Like, I
I
should have let the freaking guards arrest your ass.
and I heard you got attacked by pirates.
Yes, we were attacked by an undead ship when we were out at sea. It was mostly just skeletons, but there was one human who was in control of the ship. Was their captain.
And Trevor would just say, yeah, I doubt my party tricks would have done much good there, so you're right. I took the right path.
I'm like looking between them like at Trevor, the back at the audience. Like, oh no.
Trevor doesn't even look at Valtteri. He's just steadily just staring at an audience over there.
Audience is just like talking with Valtteri.
Yeah, I know. He's just steadily just focused on audience right now.
Let's take this outside. We gotta settle this now.
And what did you do when you arrived here? Because when did you even arrive?
We arrived today. We haven't actually. I did a little bit of shopping, and then we went and me and Toby started preaching at the square, and that's where you found us.
I see.
How were your travels?
Well,
I assume kind of unpleasant. Let's give a glance to Trevor.
well, at the beginning, a lot of unpleasant stuff happened. But, I mean, I got closer to Trevor while we were traveling, which was really nice. And at the end, I got motion sick, so yeah.
Oh, that's awful. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it was a new experience for me as well, so...
Trevor just mentioned, yeah, kind of like I did on the boat.
Yeah, nodding. Yeah.
I'm like, it's not all about you, Trevor.
He like breathes hard. Just...
But Valtteri,
Yes.
well, because you weren't actually there, Trevor did make a tea for you to help you with your motion sickness.
Yeah, I DM'd that to her and let her know some of the things that went on there.
But
Right.
Trevor helped me with me feeling uncomfortable, so it was really nice of him. And
Well, I'm glad he's good at something.
Can I ask you for something?
Yes.
Can you maybe try, because we are still a group and probably going to still be together for a long time, try to get okay with him, not just ignoring him. I don't think that it would be good for the harmony of our group if two people won't like each other.
Trevor just kind of slides forward on the bar a little bit and leans towards the audience a little bit, just staring at him, just waiting to see what he says for an answer there. With a smirk on his face, kind of.
So you see Valtteri talking to you, and as soon as she ends this, you see the face of Trevor just go. I'm sorry, I don't know how to say this in English. Just slowly moving beside Valtteri's head, looking at you.
Yeah.
I'll stay looking at Valtteri, and I'll be like, I'll look at her and I'm like, to be honest, Trevor shows almost every trait in a human that I despise and think weak and selfish, but if it will make it easier for you, I will try and at least tolerate him.
I nod and thank you. That's all I want for our group. And maybe you guys get to know each other more, and maybe you start to become friends one time. Who knows?
I kind of look at Trevor and I'm like, doubtful, but I won't say it out loud. But I'll think that to myself.
Trevor say, tolerate. This is twice I saved your ass. First time, faking a surrender to the kobolds to buy us some time after your beacon got set off, and now keeping your ass from getting arrested, you're going to tolerate me.
What's it going?
Okay.
I'm bumping Trevor like.
I feel the disturbance in the force.
Yeah.
I'll get when Trevor says that, I'm already kind of ticked off. I'll get like right up and Trevor says something like, first off, you didn't save me. You were simply a coward, and by surrendering to the kobolds, you stopped any chance we had of beating them in that fight. And secondly, the guards weren't gonna arrest me. All you did was, again, be dishonest and fake your personality. And though it ended up helping me in my goal, it had more to do with my charisma than anything you did. And then I'm gonna walk upstairs. Walk away on that note.
Gosh.
And as he's walking away, I'll just yell one thing. I'm like, yeah, you wouldn't know a subtle strategy if it hit you in the face, like I said earlier. And I'll just let him go after that.
That's what happens when you drink and you're angry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like I said, Trevor wasn't even messing with a glass. He was going right into the pitcher there. Just
I'm looking at
he
Trevor
needed
like,
one after all that frustration.
I'm looking at Trevor like, I think you had enough of wine.
I think I've had enough of him.
And audience, just as you get up the stairs, you sort of realize that you forgot to pay for a room. You don't actually have a room.
Walked into my room.
I
guess while I'm at the bar, now that he's gone and things are settling down a little bit, he'll go ahead and order him some food and a room as well. So, go ahead.
I'm quickly handing over the picture, actually, I drew of Trevor when he was reading his book, and quickly give it to him, stand up and go to the innkeeper to order my food, my water, and my room.
All right, well, he
sees
doesn't...
it.
Go ahead.
He'll seize it, he'll get the message, and he'll say, I do read it every night before I go to bed. He'll fold it up and put it in his pocket there. I'll be diffused by in the morning. Now, if it's reignited, it'll be up to him.
All right, so for your food, you can either take the most modest thing that they have, a soup, or you can take the most expensive thing they have, which is basically a little bit of meat, a little bit of cheese, and a little bit of bread.
Do they have vegetables?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Do they have vegetables or something like that? Like cooked vegetables?
You're a vegan too? Oh boy.
Well, she can.
I know, I get it.
All right, no, but just so you know, Druids would probably feel that it's a bit weird to be vegan. The cycle of nature does include.
She's not vegan. She just wants
okay.
vegetables this time to get vitamins from all that trip.
Oh, from the sickness, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, sure. There's no problem. Actually, so yeah, probably the soup will do nicely for you then.
Okay, perfect.
So the soup will be 3 copper, and you get a little piece of bread and your water, which doesn't cost anything.
And the room?
The room itself, are you going to be staying for one day or several?
Water costs nothing.
Don't know if we're gonna stay in this specific inn for more than one night. So I will, for this time, order one night, and maybe if we stay longer, order more nights.
So you get a choice between a cheap room and a not so cheap room.
Well, how much for the modest meal, the meats and cheese and the bread and all that, real quick?
The modest meal will be 3 silver.
Okay, so it's 5 silver total. Then how much for the modest room?
The modest room is 5 silver.
10 silver. Okay.
Copper. The food was 3 copper, right?
Yeah, but he asked for the modest
Yeah.
meal. You just
Yeah.
add a soup with a little bit of bread.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I wanted because I'm just removing it right now and I couldn't remember if it was
So yeah,
3
for you
copper.
it was 3 copper, but Trevor asked for something a little bit more substantious.
Yeah.
How
3
much in copper is 1 silver? 10?
silver. 10.
Yeah, it's 10 silver to a copper. To a gold.
10 copper for 1 silver. 10 silver to 1 gold.
Yep.
So I hand him over 1 silver because I don't have any copper.
He gives you the change. So if you ever wonder which for the money, which is what, basically a copper, you can think of it as a penny, silver as a dime, and gold as a dollar.
Well, I don't have that here, but sure. We have euros and cents.
Well, 1 euro, a tenth of
It's
a euro, and
1 euro is 100 cents, so yeah.
yeah, a cent a penny. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And how much are the rooms? Like, what is the price of each room from the modern?
Well, they have the cheapest room, which is of poor quality, and the not so cheap room, which is a modest room. So the lower quality is 1 silver, and the higher quality is 5 silver a night.
I will order the 1 silver room.
Very well. He tells you that it will be ready in an hour.
Thank you very much.
Tobiyashi, you finish preparing the room very quickly because you're helping the poor maid, and then she goes back down roughly half an hour, maybe 25 minutes, half an hour.
Yeah.
By that time, Valtteri, you probably go up. Or, well, what do you do? You said it was going to be ready in 1 hour. Do you stay there, or...?
I will stay downstairs and eat my food and drink my water.
Okay. Trevor, you are eating your meal.
Yep.
Audience, what did you do?
Finishing my pitcher of wine.
You just went up and you realized that you didn't purchase a room. You could always try and find Tobiyashi, and...
I'm gonna go find Tobiyashi.
So Tobiyashi...
doesn't want to come down and see Trevor again.
Just as... Well, actually, he would be getting into your room just before you and the handmaid finish preparing the room. So you see him kindly helping a maid prepare his room. You notice that there is only 1 bed.
You see, Tobiyashi, you see me, and you see that I look like kind of annoyed. Actually, angry. A little more than annoyed, kind of like angry.
What's wrong, audience? As I fix the bed and sit on it.
I'm like, Trevor's just kind of pissing me off. Honestly, if Valtteri hadn't been there, I would have probably beat him up.
Well, as I said, can't really blame the guy for trying to survive as much as he can. We're all out here doing our own thing. Kind of have to give him a break this one time.
I blame him for the way he acts and the way he always thinks that he's better than everyone else and acts like an ass.
And that's just some people, and some people you can't change. I begin to start cutting the fruit that's in my bag because I'm still hungry. Or did my food come?
It'll probably be there in a few minutes.
All right, so just for a snack, I offer some to audience. Want a piece?
I say thank you. I'll take a bite of the fruit. I'm like,
It
I
is a
promised.
very sweet fruit with a flowery taste.
I'll turn back to. I'll be like, I promised Valtteri that I would be civil towards him, but I don't know. He gets under my skin.
Well, if anything were to happen, I would try to stop you. For now, I'll take the ground. You take the bed. I set up my bedroll on the ground, and I'll just try to be as quiet as you can. I've had a hectic day.
Well, actually, the day is not over. It's only noon. Well, probably 1 o'clock
Oh my
now.
gosh.
I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. Do you want to take a nap? I will. I'm fine walking out.
Well, no, I just set up my bedroll and then, just make sure my room's all set up as we're talking. Set up
Okay.
my incense and my little Buddha statue I got. No, I'm just saying. The usual. Just wait for my food after that.
All right. Well, a few minutes later, your food does arrive with a halfling that looks at you and says, well, the food was ready, but you weren't downstairs, so I took the liberty of coming here. Were you planning on eating downstairs, or should I just leave it here?
Just leave it here. I'll eat it here.
All right.
I kind of sense that Tobiyashi seems to have had kind of a long day, kind of wants to be alone. So I'll tell him that I'm going to head out. I need to blow off some steam anyway. So I'll tell him that I'm going to go out for a bit.
Okay, well, you're welcome to stay if you need to. I'll just be in here. I kind of have to get away from all those crowds.
I'll give a nod. I don't really understand, so I don't say I understand. But, I'll give a nod, and then I'll walk out. I'll walk downstairs, and without really looking at Valtteri or Trevor, I'll kind of walk out the door of the inn and go.
Feel the presence behind them. Just
Kind of go off.
So, Valtteri and Trevor, you just see audience coming down the stairs, not looking at anyone, just slowly walking out the door, going outside.
Trevor will be eating. His eyes will just kind of glance over there without really moving his head, just see him, and he'll just look back down and go back to eating. Just basically ignore that as well.
I probably try to wave and then notice that he's not really looking at us.
it's like, hey,
Yeah, something like that.
I guess
Alright.
while we're eating, Trevor will pull out that fruit that Toby gave him. Like, Toby gave me this. Do you think he poisoned it?
If you want, I have actually a spell ready.
Okay, he's already lied to me once before, so yeah, check that for me.
I'll use detect poison and disease then. If I'm allowed to.
The confidence between this group, it's incredible.
I mean, I wouldn't have done it, but if he feels uncomfortable with it.
All right, well, yes, you cast the spell very easily,
it's
and
looking good.
Tobiyashi, did you poison this root in any way?
I did not poison it at all. I have no poison.
The
It's way
fruit
too
is very
expensive.
clean and actually looks very ripe. Ripe, sorry.
Not thrown.
Okay, I appreciate that. I'll hold on to that for later.
What's the shelf life on these things? Interesting.
Well, it's a fresh fruit. It's probably gonna be a few days.
Yeah.
Unless you dry it.
Got like 4 left.
Try it.
Yeah, you can always try to dry them.
Or you make a jam out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Trevor finishes meal. Still see the glass of wine next to Valtteri and says, "No." Yeah, just take it
No.
down there and just chug it down as well.
All right.
Constitution. No, I'm just-
I'm looking at him a little bit worried, like, should someone be really able to drink that much without already falling over or something?
I can make a Constitution save.
That's what I was about to say, yes.
Alright. Constitution.
How drunk is
I'd say he's pretty sloshed by now. You know, whether he actually pukes or not is a different story. That's 12 plus 3, that's 15.
All right. I'd say make 2 more because of everything you've drank.
Alright. That's higher, so that's
Okay.
16. And,
that sound?
okay, that's kind of low. It's 9.
All right. Well, you actually took that pretty well. You are a bit tipsy right now, but you're not. Your speech isn't impaired, and you can walk in a straight line, just not manipulate fine things.
Well, while he's there, he'll just make a motion, and to his head, he'll pull out that children's book and just start reading it there at the bar there for a little while, just to calm his nerves a little bit.
All right. Well, this feels like
I'm
a nice
meditating while
place
this
to.
going on.
Well, I was about to say that this feels like a nice moment to end this stream.
Oh,
Okay.
it's already over again.
I know. Next one will be perfect. There's gonna be so much RP. I can't wait.
Well, we'll see. Everyone's going to have cooled off a bit. Maybe there will be a little bit more trust in the group.
I tried
You
to
can-
keep the harmony, but
You can
My
feel the
character has
unity
to-
of this group. It's overwhelming. It's giving me
Heat flashes.
yeah.
we have like
Well, at least being audience, we kind of have legitimate problems with each other
Yes.
there, in our
no,
eyes,
I'm not blaming anything on you for bad anything. No. It's great. I'm just teasing you a bit.
Oh,
we have
no.
one person who is kind of neutral and doesn't give a shit anymore. Toby, we have 2 people who are fighting, and then you kind of tries to.
All right,
Get the
so
room back
we're going to
together.
end this here. So for the audience, if you've
For the
missed,
audience.
yeah, I know this will get confusing from time to time. So for the audience, if you for the viewers, if you've missed past episodes, there is a link below on one of the panels for the YouTube channel. If you're wondering about lore or rule changes, there have been a few. I will probably update this very soon. You can find them on my Patreon, and if you want to support us, well, there is a variety of way you can do this. All of them in the panels below. And so we will see you all again next Wednesday. Till then, take care of yourself, because there's not a lot of you right now, and we hope to see you all next Wednesday. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
See you.